The newest Pokemon trading card game Pocket event just dropped. It's controversial, it's difficult, there's a ton to talk about. I'll break down everything you need to know in today's video.
Who's that Pokemon?
Far-fetched. Hey guys, this is Justin. Hello and welcome to another Pokemon trading card game Pocket video. You probably realized when you logged onto the app this morning, a new event just dropped, and there's a lot you need to know. So this is another one of the online versus events, which probably has some of you afraid, and unfortunately, that fear is probably justified. So this is the Genetic Apex SP Emblem Event 1. The name rolls right off the tongue. And unlike the other event for this one, you will be getting this emblem based on consecutive wins. So you don't need to win 20 or 25 matches in total, you only need to win 5. The problem is you need to win 5 in a row. So based on this screen, we'll be getting more of these. So good opportunity to get used to it, but we're going to break down some decks, we're going to break down some things you need to know, some best practices, because this event could cause a lot of heartache. The nice thing is, aside from the emblems, you also do get a few rewards here. Some Shine Dust, which I've got enough, and I've been upgrading my cards based on their appearance, and also some Hourglasses. Very simple, you just need to play 10 versus battles. I was lucky enough to clear this event probably in my 3rd try. We'll talk about the decks in a minute, but keep in mind, there are other events running right now, and hopefully this is a bit more indicative of the event cadence we get as the game progresses and moves into 2025. Alongside this this online multiplayer event, we do have the Wonder Pick event. It's, less of an event, more of a thing to do. I will be doing these picks at the end of the video because I still do need this Bulbasaur here. Not this one, the event exclusive Bulbasaur. Got a few of these Magnemites. We need Bulbasaur. Just the collector in me. Alongside that, if you don't like online play as much, great thing, we do have the Venusaur drop event. I've completed this. A lot of fun way to check out some sort of off-meta decks to test things out while still playing a really tough opponent. Make sure you keep doing these because even if you don't need any more of the cards, you will still be getting these tokens. Don't use, obviously, your Hourglasses because they do transition between events. You'll keep your extra Hourglasses, which is really nice. I've got, I think, 7, which isn't a ton. But I do want to talk briefly about this Wigglytuff deck because it's completely nonsense and garbage, but don't use it for this current event. I was going to make a whole video about it, but it's pretty silly. Wigglytuff is really strong, and Jigglypuff can also be a bit of an ass early on in the game if that Sing activates and your opponent doesn't wake up from it. And then once you get Wigglytuff going with Sleepy Song and 80 damage, it can be a lot of fun. Obviously, normal Pokemon are usually meant to slot into other decks, but that's nonsense. Let's talk about this event and really the decks which will probably bring you to victory the fastest. I'm not going to lie, this event is not easy. You need to have not only a good meta deck, but also luck. And when I say good meta deck, unfortunately, you're going to be running into a lot of Pikachus, a lot of Mewtwo's, a lot of the other high-tier decks like Moltres, Charizard. So really, you want to go with Pikachu or Mewtwo if you have it. If you've got one deck that you find really works well to surprise the average player, I know Muck decks, for example, can often fall into that category. Maybe try that. A good free-to-play deck, the Blaine Blitz, is what I've called it. I did an entire video on it. It really is predicated on hitting your opponent early with Blaine and Ninetales for 120 damage, and that can work out well against Pikachu because that is its HP. But for me, I got my 5 wins with what I call Salty Sparks, my Pikachu deck. There are different variants of this. Really, the cards that are in most of them, 2 Pikachus, 2 Zapdos EXs. Unfortunately, I only have 1, so I threw in a few extra items as well. Really, I probably should have another basic Pokemon. If you haven't, for some reason, played this deck, Pikachu gets damage based on your number of benched Pokemon. So really, you don't want to be filling your deck up with a bunch of second evolutions. That's why I've got Electabuzz in there. He's pretty viable. And I also chose Voltorb because he does 20, and then Electrode is really nice because he does 70 with just 2 energy, and the bigger thing is no retreat cost. So you can instantly go from Electrode into Pikachu EX really flexibly, so great choice there. Otherwise, you gotta go with what you have. Check Reddit. We'll go over maybe some other meta decks. If there's a card that you'd like to build a deck around and you're a bit confused, you know, let me know. Obviously, the Starmie decks are pretty popular as well. I think they're a bit of a tier below Pikachu, not just because I don't think Starmie, or I just don't think the deck overall is quite as good, but because you run into so many Pikachu decks that the type ineffectiveness, or really the type weakness, forgot the word there, will hurt you a lot, because it's not just Starmie, it's also Articuno. So with that being said, I thought it'd be fun if we just ran this deck through a few battles. However, one caveat. A lot of people are going to struggle here. I do not want to take away people's victories, so I'm going to do 2 things. For one, off screen, I'm going to go into the queue and concede for every match we play. For 2, I'm also going to make sure that if the opportunity arises, I'm going to concede before I actually get the victory. So, ethical YouTubing in Pokemon TCG Pocket. But we'll run through the queue, we'll get an idea of some of the matchups that you can expect to see. I don't see this person having a crown, so I am going to try to concede before I actually get the victory, if I even do. Because the thing about really this queue, there's so much luck involved. I could come up with a Pikachu mirror match, and really, the person who gets second turn has a massive, massive advantage there. And you can't control for that, especially if, you know, if I get an initial hand of just an Electabuzz, we're in for a bit of a tough time. Alright, so that first match actually crashed out, and we're playing against someone who does have the 5 victories based on their emblem, so we'll just play this out. With Pikachu, I do like starting with Pikachu if I have him. Voltorb is also a really good choice, simply because that Electrode, turn 2, 70 damage. That's nothing to shake your head at, especially with the instant retreat. But Pikachu has the availability for 9, and just has that extra health, which will help against Mewtwo if he starts getting those Psychic Spheres off. But I don't play much Mewtwo just because I still don't have a single Gardevoir, so I'm not really sure what he thinks of this start. I'm guessing he doesn't love it. Most of the time I see them try to get Ralts up first, but Mewtwo's a decent block. The only problem is Pikachu can pretty quickly start putting damage down. But also, if he can get that backline Gardevoir going, if he gets some good RNG, then that's a bit problematic for me. Okay, I do not mind my deck getting shuffled there. That's great. Hopefully I can get another basic card. Yep. So yeah, that deck shuffle is going to really hurt him. Now, I could swap out his... I could try to swap out his... and get his Gardevoir. If he didn't have that Ralts up there, I probably would. But he can only get max 3 energy next turn, even if he does have the Gardevoir pulled. So we're just gonna continue on. 90 damage, nothing to complain about there, and we will have his Mewtwo dead next turn unless he does something a little funky with the switching. I don't know if he's got some X speeds, and he might try to sacrifice probably the Ralts there. If he does, I'm going to Sabrina him. Looks like he's happy to just... Looks like he's preparing for the death of his Mewtwo. I assume he's got a Giovanni, so we need to get a potion here, and we need to also prepare to move to our next Pokemon. So let's just go ahead and drop that. We have, I think we still have 3 benched basic Pokemon, so I do have to be careful here. If I had the... Oh, actually, Gardevoir needs Gardevoir needs 3 energy. I don't think they can feed themselves. Maybe they can. Oh yeah, it's just any Pokemon in the active slot. So I'm assuming they do have a Giovanni here. Otherwise, we'll see. No? Okay. So that's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'll take down this Gardevoir. I've got a Sabrina, which is really nice, although I already had one. Just pull the Oak anyway. Okay, that's perfect. Now we do have another basic. They probably aren't running 2 red cards. So... Yeah, so this is going to be fine. I will attack, and then either they will switch their Mewtwo in, or they will kill my Pikachu. Either way, easy dub next turn. If they switch Mewtwo in, I will just hit them with the Sabrina and attack either their Ralts or their Gardevoir. So this will be a good win. I am going... Oh no, I'm not going to concede because these people already have the... they already have the 2 victories, so no need. Or the 5 victories. But yeah, just generally don't go in the queue and make things worse for people who are just trying to get their achievement. Go ahead and hit Sabrina. And I assume he'll concede here. Alright, that's GG. Again, not against a person who needed it, so let's move on. We'll do 3 battles, then I'll do an opening. Yeah, GG. X-Ego, thank you for the content. Let's move on and play another one. So, I do find that Pikachu matches up pretty well against that deck. This one, again, we're not going to secure the victory because I don't see that emblem on them. We'll play it through, but if I'm starting to worry about them conceding, I'm going to try to concede first. I'm not going to concede halfway through the game while while it's still in dispute, but okay. It's a great start for me. Sometimes I always kind of question whether to play that second Voltorb, given this setup, because I do like to save the spot for another Pikachu, but I'm also a little scared of getting red carded, which will send that extra Pokemon back to my deck, and there's no guarantee that I do get another basic. So that drop from 90 to 60 can be a big difference maker. And I hope they didn't crash out. If they did, I'll cut into a different game. But if they do crash out, that counts as a win. In my 5 victories, my 3rd game resulted... it was actually someone who had the crown, and they joined and they conceded instantly, like I will do, and I did do earlier as well. Just because I'd rather we lose than them, I will concede this. That's fine. I don't know if they're purposely timing me out there. If they are, I'm kind of not super happy to give them the point, because that's just play the game. But I'm really curious about the number of people actually playing this game actively. It's crazy. You go into the private lobbies with you probably know of the No EX or the Thanks lobby, like we talked about in yesterday's video. You find a game almost instantly. So this is not a terrible start. I think we're second. So it's fine. Ideally, we can get a... Okay, so this might be tough. This deck does work really well against... I will say it works well against Charizard decks. Okay, so yeah, this is not a great situation at all. We had a good hand. Okay. So yeah, not good. But that's kind of a good look at what the RNG can also be like. I don't think switching his Pokemon really makes any sense right now. So we'll get some damage. Voltorb is a fine first Pokemon because you get Voltorb, you get, you know, the 20 damage, then you start chipping away with Electrode. It's just this is not a good situation because we don't have Electrode and we lost our other... We had Pokeballs and Professor Oaks and we lost all of them. Okay, let's get the research. I will probably... It's like risky because I don't... Okay, that makes my decision easier. I was trying to decide whether I wanted to Sabrina his Mewtwo just to kind of stop his energy generation a bit. Obviously, if he's got an X speed, that doesn't hurt him so much, but my Electrode makes that decision easy. I was just worried he'd hit me with the Giovanni this turn and get rid of my Pokemon, and then I'd have a Pikachu with no damage output because I had no benched Pokemon. And this is why I think the way I've got my deck set up is not good, because ideally I would have another Zapdos just to help keep basics all the time. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to Giovanni his Mewtwo, and then I'm going to concede because I think that I will win this, and I don't want him to quit because I don't know if he's in the middle of a winning streak and I don't really want to disrupt that. So I think I probably have this one locked up because I'll be doing 70 damage against Mewtwo next turn. We're just going to go ahead and concede, especially because we would win. So GG. We'll do one more, I think. Maybe we'll try a different deck. Let's do one with the Charizard deck, which I think a lot of people have identified as... Okay, and I'm frozen. I think a lot of people have identified Charizard as being sort of a tier below Pikachu in terms of meta. Actually, let's do Blaine Blitz, just because it's a bit more free-to-play friendly than either of those decks. Charizard is definitely not free-to-play friendly because you need to pull the 2 Charizards, you need to pull 2 Moltres, and you need to pull the other evolutionary Pokemon. So, alright, going first. I don't hate that with... Yeah, I actually really don't hate that given the situation because we'll be able to hit them with Rapidash right away, which is nice. Hopefully we can get a Blaine. This is a really tough matchup. Oh, okay, it's a kind of off-meta one. I don't know why you'd have... I don't really know why you would have Vulpix in a Moltres deck. Unless, well, I'm guessing there still is a Charizard. I guess Vulpix is nice because Ninetales, without needing a lot, can output a lot of damage. So I guess that makes sense. The only problem is, when Ninetales is out there, you can't be feeding your bench Charizard because... Oh, okay. Interesting. So I guess this is just a different Blaine deck, then. Interesting. So, the problem I'm going to have facing this is that 90 damage is going to be hard for me to survive. I forget what Ninetales' max health is, but probably could have used that Giovanni there. But we'll have at least 2 more turns before we can use Ninetales anyway, so we're okay. Okay, so Ninetales is 90 HP. I wonder if they're going to try to retreat Moltres here. I don't know. Let's see if they've got an X speed. Either way, a lot of this is going to come down really to whether I can pull my whether I can pull my Ninetales here. If I can pull mine, we should be fine. Because if they nuke my Rapidash, then I'll be able to nuke them. Oh, 3. Yikes. So I will say, in my first go-through, my first attempt, I lost because I lost in game 3 because I hit 4 tails with Zapdos, which was not fun, obviously. It's like you think, okay, on average, 450 damage each, you assume 100 damage. It's just, what you'd hope for. But I had two in that run, which I got 4 tails. Definitely unfortunate. Okay. So, basically, we're at the point where I really need to pull a Ninetales next turn if I want a chance. Because, yeah, I figured he would have a Giovanni or a Blaine. If we get the Ninetales, we'll be able to nuke that one, and then right now, anyway, he doesn't have anything that could survive a second hit. So, let's see what we get here. Otherwise, we're relying on a Tail Whip. Okay. So, yeah, not good, obviously. I could... Let's just actually... Here. I keep forgetting we're not playing... these aren't EX Pokemon, so... We have a bit more freedom. We can... Sacrificial Farfetch'd. Very useful Pokemon in this deck, by the way. But his job is to die right now. And we also need to hope that he or she doesn't get a second Ninetales, because if they can get that one going, then yeah, we're in trouble. Okay. That's smart. So they basically did the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and concede this one. GG. If you don't have a high meta deck, like a Pikachu deck or a Mewtwo deck, you got to win 5 games in a row like this. It's going to be tough. I really enjoy playing this deck kind of when there's not an event going on, like just going into queue with it, but people get sweatier in the queue. So that's a good win for that guy. I'm glad we didn't need it, but he kind of embarrassed me on my own video. Let's just end this video off with a quick pack opening. I said I needed the Zapdos, so we are going to do the Genetic Apex Pikachu deck. On a note, we are getting a mini launch this month. We don't know how many cards it'll be, how much it's going to shake up the meta, but save your hourglasses. Surprisingly hard to do that on mouse keyboard, and we got absolutely nothing, so that's fine. Let's go ahead and do our Wonder Pick as well. And yes, I'm going to spend 2 Wonder Pick energy, and I think also, yeah, not just 2 energy, but also an hourglass on trying to get this. I just want one, or actually, I don't need to spend any energy on this. It's free. I just want this Bulbasaur. Like, I haven't been able to get it yet. 1 in 5. Alright. Let me know what you thought of this video. Let me know if there's any decks you'd like to see covered in the future. That's all I've got. See you guys later. Bye-bye.